Good morning to you. Good morning to you. How are you today? My hair is a mess, and I worked until 1 last night, but it was all for a good reason because I'm doing a workshop today on your one word, choosing your one word for a purposeful new year. It is between now and, let me see, what time is it? What time is it right now? I don't even know. Basically, you have like an hour and 20 minutes left to sign up for that. Happy New Year's Eve, everyone. Of course, if you're watching this 6 months from now, I guess it doesn't really matter. But if you're watching it live with me right now, you can appreciate my wild, crazy hair. And I don't mean that vainly. I mean, I'm definitely appreciating it and its stubbornness. It's like my kids. It refuses to do anything except tweak in directions that I didn't want it to go. We are getting ready to read, watching from Georgia. Hey, April, good to see you. We're starting chapter 5 today on understanding the abuse of power. And we finished part 1. Part 1 was power defined, which was fantastic for ramping up to the end of the year. Here on New Year's Eve, we are starting power abused. Good morning, Lori from Germany. I love seeing you pop up. And so, I'm not going to spend a long time because I have to go get ready to do my one word workshop, which if you have not yet signed up for that, you totally can. It closes at 10:59 Eastern time today. It will be done for enrollment. But we have a great group planning to be there. And you can access that if you scroll all the way down over on wilderness2wild.com. Of course, that's if you're watching it with me live. So I see quite a few of you. Good morning, Vonda. And Stacy, I see several of you. Like always, I love to hear where you're watching from. And if you have any thoughts, have you been reading ahead in the book? Have you been getting ahead of us? Hi, Nancy. Yeah, I mean, I have. Shh, that's my job. And it's just so good. But if you're watching and you love it and someone else needs to hear it, you can just click share on the bottom and then all your friends can see it too, which is always a great help. All right, chapter 5. We're on page 61 in the book Redeeming Power, Understanding Authority and Abuse in the Church. I have a kiddo sneaking his head around the corner, and he's going to go out and leave me alone, right? I love you. All right, we have been flooded recently with stories and headlines about power being abused in all arenas of modern life. We hear about power abused by individuals as well as by churches and organizations. These abuses all occurred in the context of relationships. The word relationship derives from the Latin referere. Did I say that right? Do we have any Latin scholars here? Mm-hmm. Meaning brought back. It contains the idea of motion, of carrying, and of bearing forth and bringing back. In this way, a relationship is like a two-way street. The word can also mean to narrate. In other words, a relationship is a story. When we relate to others, we are co-writing a story, weaving our lives together to tell a story. What happens when our story includes the abuse of power? The word abuse comes from the Latin abuti. It means to misuse or use wrongly and encompasses the ideas of exploiting, causing injury, assaulting, and perpetrating violence and offensive language. When a relationship is abusive in any form, the story being written is twisted and damaging. Let's consider a concrete example. You live in a good neighborhood surrounded by friendly and respectful neighbors. Then the neighbors next door move away and another family moves in. You expect the new occupants to continue the weaving that has been done by your previous neighbors. But they leave junk cars and bicycles around. Sometimes they dump their trash into your yard. You try speaking to them. They get enraged. You bring in other neighbors to no avail. Some tell you to just be quiet so the situation doesn't escalate. You go to the authorities and they say there is nothing they can do. Your neighbors have complained that you are harassing them. Now you're living in a completely different story, mistreated, exploited, and literally trashed. It affects your home, your marriage, your appearance, your mood, and your status. This is a small but concrete picture of what happens when abuse of any kind is brought into a relationship. Most humans intend to use their power for good. They want to earn more money, grow the church, protect good programs, or preserve a good reputation. Adam and Eve told themselves they were pursuing a greater likeness to God. They seemed blind to the fact that they were pursuing a seemingly good goal through utterly ungodly means. And we do the same thing. We tell ourselves that measures such as membership growth and financial gain in a ministry are proof of likeness to God. We then make decisions that silence unwelcome truths about fraud or abuse and tell ourselves that the cover-up preserves God's honor. We say we are using our power to seek likeness to God when in fact, what we are doing looks nothing like Him. It isn't difficult to be seduced into such thinking. Let's consider some of the ways that we might not only be abusing power, but also sanctifying that abuse. We looked briefly at different kinds of power in chapter 1. Now let's go deeper. Physical power. Physical power is embodied power. A man who weighs 250 pounds, stands over 6 feet tall, and has well-developed musculature and excellent hand-eye coordination could be a physical threat to most people. He fills the space he occupies, not just with his size, but with the aura of physical strength that hangs in the air. Men and women both feel small near him. If that man is kind and godly, his strength will be welcomed and trusted, creating a sense of safety and protection. If he is abusive and full of rage, a mere touch to his wife's elbow when she says something that displeases him will elicit terror. Most people will be unaware that this simple touch communicated the warning of danger to her, but she knows their story. If she displeases him, his strength will be used to harm her. She will bear the impact of that harm in many ways. In a different scenario, a person may emanate a physical presence not necessarily related to size. A presence that is scintillating, charismatic, and energetic can overwhelm. Heads turn and the energy is felt and draws attention. Such power is less concrete, but present nonetheless. A person with such power can command a room or an organization or a country. This person clearly has power to use or abuse. Most of us are keenly aware of the physical power of others. We have some sense of when we are vulnerable, especially when that power is obvious. We are often less aware of what our own presence communicates to others. I am especially conscious of my physical presence in my office, where I work with many clients who have abuse histories. That's Diane Langberg speaking. I am quite tall, so I pay attention to where I stand and how I move so that I won't overwhelm them. It is important to be aware of the impact our presence produces, as well as the ways we might unthinkingly use it to control others. Whether we use our presence to overpower others or to deflect attention, others will feel its impact, just as we feel the effect of their presence. Verbal power. Words have the power to build up or tear down a person's sense of self. A child who experiences nurturing, supportive, and kind words is far more likely to flourish than a child marinating in harsh, critical, and shaming words. That child will be crushed and may grow up silent, having no voice. Or they may become a replica of the original bully who reached for some sense of power by verbally beating up others. Verbal bullying on social media has been linked to depression in teens, and resulting high-profile suicides have been reported. Words can kill a soul. They can lead to the end of a life as well. Sexual predators use words to groom and deceive. Words are used to cover up terrible wrongs or to control. They can seduce, condemn, humiliate, or shock. The power of words to destroy is seemingly endless. If we do not grasp the reality of verbal abuse, we will not recognize the extent of the destruction. We will excuse, minimize, or distort what is in fact crippling, deforming, shattering, and life-destroying. Words can shatter the self of a child or an adult. Using words, our God-given verbal power, to control, manipulate, demean, or intimidate is abusive. It is actually not hard to crush a life by using words. Their power is staggering. It is abuse when an adult so threatens and intimidates everyone in the home that no one dares voice a different opinion. It is abuse when a man curses at his wife or calls her a slut, a whore, or an idiot. It is abuse when a spouse criticizes everything about their spouse day after day, their appearance, parenting accomplishments, and friends. It is abuse when a parent calls a child an idiot, a good-for-nothing, or a worthless piece of trash. How long do you think a child can withstand the impact of such names before they collapse under the load? Tomorrow, we will read about emotional power and the powerful combination of knowledge, intellect, and skill. And then after that, there's economic power, power and sex, and then a story, just in this chapter. All right. Thank you for hanging out with me this morning, and I hope that you have a really great day and that you are able to spend some extra time with Jesus today, thinking about this. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Drop me a comment, okay?